Hi, I'm Chara and welcome back to my creepy Catwalk commentary, the show where I discuss and break down each and every episode of the Boulet Brothers Dragula Season 5. I hope you all enjoy noisy outfits, because these earrings are very jangly, giving you the ASMR experience between this, my leather outfit, and these nails. Lots of fun things to play with in editing. So just like last time, before we get into this episode, I want to share with you all my most recent finished play-along look. This is my favorite one that I've done so far for the Haunted Hotel Challenge from episode 3. And here it is. And as always, if you want a behind-the-scenes look at my concept for this process, because this one is a journey, let me tell you, viewers at home, be sure to go follow me on TikTok to get all the scoop on that later this week. Episode 5, Gods of Death, Part 2. So last week we saw the first part of the Monsters of Rock challenge where they specifically just presented their Monsters of Rock floor show looks. Fantasia Royale Gaga took home her first win. Obviously, very happy about that. But at the same time, I'm very sad because we had to say goodbye to my favorite of the preseason, Jarvis Hammer. I'm gonna miss that kooky little guy. So, leading into this episode, we get more of these little intro scenes. I thought the intro scene in this episode was really cute, of the Boulets kind of behind the scenes, talking about how we've already done the intro for this episode. You saw this last week. Go. Get out of here. It made me teehee. But at the same time, I'm not really looking forward to this episode as a whole going in, because historically, the Monsters of Rock episodes are full of drama. I didn't really enjoy last season's Monsters of Rock episode, despite Sigourney having one of the best, if not the best look in the history of Dragula, in my opinion. These are always full of drama and fighting and issues about something, and I don't like it, I don't enjoy it, that's not why I watch the show. Sure, it may be good TV, but I could go without it. Going into this, I'm approaching it with trepidation. So everyone comes into the lab, they lament the loss of Jarvis. It was obvious that the right decision was made. Jay demolished Jarvis in that lip sync. Good for them. Orgotic, Fantasia, and Throb all praised Jay for their performance. Cynthia, on the other hand, had some issues with it, which then sparks some drama, some back and forth. It gets to be a lot. So there's this moment where Jay goes to put their arm around Throb, like, oh, thank you so much, I really appreciate that. And Throb yells, quite aggressive, don't touch me. And oh, I'm sensitive, and oh. And just given the microaggression track record of Mr. Zombie, not a fan of that move. I don't care if it was supposed to be a joke for TV to make drama or a moment, but it made me uncomfortable. It felt a little pointed. Once I started noticing the microaggressive behavior from Throb towards Jay and Fantasia both, now it sticks out like a sore thumb to me. And I am honestly starting to like Throb a little bit less and less as each episode goes on. To Throb's credit though, it took him 5 episodes, but he finally has a confessional about Fantasia where he's not gunning at her for no reason. So they're standing split, divided into their 2 bands, and just based off of the lab banter, I kind of already have a feeling that Orgotic is going to be a really good leader. Orc says in their confessionals, they're like, you know what? We've got drama. I'm glad they're fighting. I'm glad they're yelling at each other, because that shows how passionate they are and how much they care. We're gonna knock these issues out and we're gonna get the job done. Great. That's team leadership. You sort out your problems, you nip it in the bud, you put a cork in it, whatever you have to do to get the job done at the best level possible. And to me, that's how Orc was as a leader. Cynthia then brings up that she's hoping this issue between Anna and Blackberry will basically be their band's downfall, because they were having a little bit of a tiff last week. And then we get this kind of cute, sappy music, because they've talked it out, they've handled it quite maturely, and they're like, you know what, I understand where you're coming from. They resolved their issues, and it's very nice, it's very wholesome, very cute, very sweet. We love to see it. We love to see growth. We've said it before, we'll say it again. The video message from the Boulets comes up, and to recap, this is now part 2 of the challenge, which we learned about last week. The monsters that remain in their bands will have to create and choreograph a group performance to the Boulet Brothers' new song, Gods of Death. They're told the winning band's vocals will be sampled and featured on the track. But there's only one singular winner in this episode. So, and from what I saw got spoiled early on Reddit, the track only features the winner. So I haven't listened to the track at the time of this recording. I probably won't, because I didn't really like it that much, because I'm not a metal girly, and to me, it's just drag music, and most drag music is bad. I will say this is certainly better than their other stuff that I've heard on this show, but it's just not my genre, it's not my thing. Much like a lot of the things on this show that I'm talking about aren't my thing, but here we are. We then learn that Fantasia's team is made up of people who can actually carry a tune pretty decently. Fantasia holds out one singular note that I don't know if they just held it out in the editing for the sake of comedy, or if she legitimately held out this note that long. If she did, Jinx Monsoon, eat your heart out. Orgotic's team, on the other hand, can't sing, and the four of them are all solid performers. I feel like their team, despite not having the technical singers, are probably gonna do better in this challenge because they have more of that like rocker raw energy to them. But going into the rehearsals and the vocals, the setup to me is so ridiculously obvious that Orgotic's team is the clear underdog because they don't have the singers and they have all this drama between their members. In my opinion, as a prominent reality TV competition viewer, this storyline is clear as day. So the groups then go into rehearsals and into the studio, so we get to hear a little bit of their vocals. It seems like they're really only singing like one little round of the chorus. However, in their actual physical rehearsals, it's very obvious that Fantasia does not have a clear line, a clear point of view in where she wants to lead this band, how she wants them to be staged and perform. She doesn't get everybody on the same page with stuff. They're going over little finicky things and they're all kind of in their own bubble, which in a group challenge like this is a problem. And also, bless Neo for not knowing what a guitar pick is or how to use it or just how to play guitar in general. She gave it the good old college try, I'll give her that. But this group, compared to Orgotic's group in their rehearsal, is like night and day difference. Orgotic's team, from the jump, seems like they're getting on pretty well. Jay even mentions, you know what, we've got issues in this group, let's use those to our advantage in the performance. Orgotic, pour a drink on me. A full drink, a full bottle. And to me, that is a genius move, and I loved it. The second that came out of Jay's mouth, I was sold that this was gonna be the better group, instantly. There's more synergy, the choreography made more sense. They're clearly staging this performance to make sure that everybody is working together, coming together, having moments between members, and really making the entire group feel like an actual group. And that's not something that Fantasia's group has done at all. So I think that's really the testament of Orgotic's great leadership skills in this challenge. The other part of the challenge that I forgot to mention earlier is that each band has to create a cohesive group look. They have to all make sense together as a unit. And so for Orgotic's team, they have all quite literally brought Orgotic's drag into their own world. So Orgotic has made pieces for all of them. So they all end up basically doing Orgotic's drag, but through their individual lens, as Cynthia Doll, as JK, as Throb Zombie. To me, again, this is another like big brain genius move. This was such a great concept. It worked really well. I really thought it was successful at what they were trying to go for. Orgotic, of everybody on this season, is really the one who I get the most enjoyment out of watching their process, because Orgotic's drag really does a lot with very little. So I loved getting to see specifically how that was going to all come together. It was cool. Like, you get a good little insight into the process. There is a moment as Orgotic is explaining this process that took me out, that I thought was so funny, because Orgotic is speaking through this process in Spanish. Then we get this like jump cut to Fantasia as Orgotic is talking, just going, and like I said in a previous review, Fantasia's face, the way her proportions are, this woman is a walking cartoon character, and I love it so much. She has my favorite reaction shots to everything in this show. I'm always happy to get another one. Speaking of Fantasia, her band's look is very much going in a Kiss direction, which to me, I don't know why Blackberry didn't come in and say, maybe let's not do this, because that's literally what Blackberry did for the Monsters of Rock Floor Show challenge. So the look between the two really isn't all that different outside of now there's hair. There's not big spiky shoulder pieces. I'm not sure where that decision came from. I do get the Kiss aesthetic just because of the fact that it allows you to have sort of a unified vision, but at the same time really do stuff that's highly individual. The problem is, I think they were all a little too different from each other in the makeup department, namely Anna. Her makeup it's basically just punky Anna makeup. It's not Anna through this like kiss lens. So, on to the performances. But of course, we're going to start off with the Boulets looks this episode. I thought the slicked hair was cool, great proportion with the outfit. I loved the cut of this, the silhouette's great. I love these satellite disc collar headpiece moments. The little blood speckling in the makeup is great. I didn't really think that the arm and chest pieces made sense with the rest of the outfit, which I'm noticing quite a bit this season with them, is that I like the elements of their looks. Outside of the color palette, it does just kind of feel like it would be a different look altogether. What I really want to talk about here though is Swanthula's makeup. Diva, she was painted for the back row, and I loved it. I loved it so much. And I think what is nice about this season in particular too is the Boulets aren't trying to be necessarily like pretty samey in their looks. They're actually going quite disparate in a number of ways, whether it's a different cut of their silhouette. My earring. You know what? Let's fix it. It's on. That's as good as it's gonna get. Time to put these back. Screw it. I hate that earring. Okay, that earring won't stay on. We're gonna switch earrings. Okay, we're back. We're back to normal. Earrings have been swapped out. We're gonna live and we're gonna move on. So continuing going back to the Boulets looks, my favorite thing about this is that Swanthula's makeup, it's so elevated, it's so lifted, and she's gone from this kind of like normal straight across thing that her and Drac both do, and her makeup, it's so much more dramatic than Drac's is. And so I really like that they're taking different directions with their makeup for these looks this season. My favorite makeup she has ever done. Like, to me, this is the best her face has ever looked. This is so good. This is like the perfect eye shape for her face size, and I hope that she does more things like this going forward. Drax, on the other hand, I wish she would have also gone a little more angled up. Her thing is that she just went out. So her makeup just looks like her normal makeup, but wider. To me, that's not as successful as Swan's is. And this week they are joined by their guest judges, Jasmine Bean, who I found out after filming the last review was the musical artist behind the lip sync that they performed the previous episode. So like, and season 4 winner Dolly, always nice to see them back on the show, and this is the perfect challenge to bring them back for. They won it in season 4, so they've been around the block a couple of times with this. They know what's successful and what's not. So then we have the performances. We have Orgotic's band Chaotic and Fantasia's band Hell's Foreplay. Just on the names alone, Orgotic's makes more sense. I understand that Hell's Foreplay is because there's 4 people in the band, but it doesn't like fit the aesthetic of what they're going for as much as what Orgotic's did. And based on the performances alone, by a country mile, Chaotic was so far ahead. As I was watching this and taking notes, my first immediate thought was, oh, Orgotic's got this in the bag. There was a full collaborative performance going on with their band, Fantasia's group. But based off of the performances, my 3 that I think are the most in trouble are Neo, Fantasia, and Anna. Anna's performance is good, but it's just not up to snuff, I think, at this point in the competition with everybody else. Fantasia did great as a lead singer. She did great in performing the song. However, I think Fantasia's biggest detriment is that she didn't bring that, I guess this is the hot word for this episode, but she didn't have the team synergy that Chaotic did. Fantasia was just focused on, I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna do it well. You do what you do, and you do that well too, and it will make sense on stage. Unfortunately, when you have 4 people that are supposed to be working together to create a collaborative performance, everyone needs to be present in the moment, working as a collective, and that just did not happen with their team. And the performance ultimately suffered for it. Chaotic looks incredible. The line that they pose with at the end of the levels with all the different arm positions, such a smart choice. Looks really great on stage. I love this color palette, doing the flesh tones in the black with these horns. Really read well. When they would use the fake blood, it was this like weird kind of infrared electric color. It was really effective. I think they had some really great moments between the makeouts, the blood pouring, Throb spitting blood on Cynthia's ass, whatever it was. Like, they had enough moments. It felt like watching a rock concert, like a really underground, dark, seedy rock concert. Fantasia's group felt like a tribute act. It just didn't have the same level of finish and polish that Orgotic's team did. The looks, to me, were all too wildly different. I thought individually they looked fine. They were a little simple. I didn't really like most of their look. I loved Neo's makeup. I loved Fantasia's makeup. I liked Anna's outfit, and I liked Blackberry's hair. That was about it. So obviously, Chaotic wins the challenge. All 4 of them are safe and are moving on to the next challenge. Not surprised there at all. So going into critiques for Hell's foreplay, they are knocked down a peg or two for their group not having cohesion and for the looks being a little too simple, a little too predictable. And I think, to me, that's where Fantasia kind of failed as a leader. Like, they all gave good, passable performances at the very least. However, the big part of this challenge is the teamwork aspect, and I just don't think that she wrangled the troops as well as she could have to bring it to where it needed to be brought. Blackberry is praised on their performance of being the drummer and even outshining Fantasia a bit in the back, being a great performer in that regard, which, work, slay, nice to see. Blackberry getting some good praise again. Anna is told she had the best look of the group in that 4. However, she was just kind of, again, like I've said a few different times, off to the side in her own little corner, in her own little chair, with her own little instrument, playing her own thing. And they needed her to really let go of the poise and the precision that she has as a trained performer. And she did, but she didn't go as far as she could have gone. And she didn't really have any interplay with the group either. And the guitarist and the bassist are really big on doing that during the number. In my opinion, Neo gets the worst criticism of everybody this episode. Her hair got in the way. She didn't know how to play the instrument. She just really was kind of off in her own little world. But then at the same time, the judges also say, it was so bad, we loved it. And it was kind of giving, Alyssa Edwards All-Stars 2, where it could be a really shitty job, but we'll give you a pass because you're Neo, and we think you're charming, and we like you. The 2 lowest scores of the group, though, clearly are Nia Hulu and Anaphylactic. So I'm very sad about Anna. I'm very happy to see that even though they were you kind of brought it around to being silly, when we enjoyed that, that wasn't the intent of the challenge, so she failed, and so she's up for elimination as well. But you can tell just by how they worded the lead into it, they're well, unfortunately, we've got to put 2 of you up, and, Anna's obviously going to be one, but we're really sorry to have to put Neo there. So to me, it was very obvious. So, Season 2 and Season 3's Extermination Challenge for this episode, the bottom 2 have to go into a little tattoo buzz and get an American-style tattoo that's trashy, gross, embarrassing, and get it in a bad place, and get the most embarrassing one they can. All of them are phallic, fine. All of them had some reference about nutting, fine. I will say though, I was kind of gagged they didn't send Fantasia as well, because Fantasia didn't really lead her group. But I think her performance ultimately saved her, because she did deliver really well in that regard. To me, the writing is already on the wall. No ridiculous tattoo is going to save Anna in this. And I think Anna realizes that and accepted that in the Cauldron too, because she specifically says, I'm gonna fight, I'm gonna prove that I deserve to say, but at the same time, I'll take a tattoo and go have a nap. I could be done. To me, it came across like she was saying, in a way, indirectly, that she had kind of resigned herself to accepting her elimination, and that she was okay with it. But she was like, okay, I'm still gonna do it. I'm still gonna do the challenge, still gonna get the tattoo, and if I go home, then I go home. Whatever. The Cauldron as a whole this week, though, I thought was so fun. The giggly workroom drama, that there was still shade, but it was more playful and it wasn't malicious. It wasn't this episode, much like the band's performances in comparison to each other. This episode was like a night and day experience from the last one. I actually really enjoyed this episode a lot. This is more what I want out of Dragula, not all the reality TV stuff. And I genuinely think the reason why they split these episodes up is because these group challenges are a hotbed for drama and fights and arguments, and that makes good reality TV. I have to commend the 8 remaining monsters, because really the only drama that came up during the rehearsals was with Fantasia's group, where they were just trying to figure out gimmicks, trying to figure out stunts for the stage, and Fantasia just shutting everything down. Whereas with Orgotic's group, they didn't have any drama. They just got out there, did their thing, called it a day, went home. This was a fairly drama-light episode once you got past the lab at the very beginning. Very okay with that. very okay with keeping the drama to a min and just showing the monsters working, making their stuff, honing their craft, tailoring their performances, and just going out and delivering what they deliver at their best. More episodes like this, Boulets. So Neo and Anna get their tattoos. I don't really think there's a whole lot to say about the extermination. It's just getting a tattoo. So unfortunately, we are saying goodbye to Anaphylactic this week. I will say though, again, these death scenes are getting me together, because this is, honestly, when I think about the scenarios of all of the different ways that these people have been killed over these seasons on the show, this setup is, to me, legitimately the most terrifying. The idea of walking into a room by yourself and there are all of these creepy ass mannequins dressed like creepy ass ghosts, and then one of them sneaks up behind you and stabs you in the chest when you turn around. No! Oh, I'm not really sure how this fits in with the context of the horror movie reference. If there was a horror movie reference with these sets of episodes, I did not get it at all. And in 2 weeks, half of my initial preseason top 4 gone. And what's interesting to me as a viewer now is that one of my other members of my top 4, I don't really want them to be top 4 anymore. And then there's other people in the competition, like Jay, like Cynthia, who I wrote off as being people who would get eliminated pretty early, who are really growing on me a lot and I'm really liking. Even Neo, who I do not like, famously. I just cannot get past the NFT thing, and I don't think I ever will. At the end of the day, there can only be one winner, and I think Anna is just consistently underperforming comparatively. And while I love her, I think she's incredibly talented. Once again, I'm still shocked, very shocked, that we're on week 5 now, and I have agreed with both the winner and the eliminated contestant every single week. Overall, this episode was a much more enjoyable watch for me, so I hope that the episodes going forward are more like this one and not like last week's. So next week we will have my Monsters of Rock challenge look included in the episode. I was really hoping to have that done and be all caught up to speed. Life took a turn with my hotel look and I totally scrapped it and did something completely different. So that set me back just a smidge. And also, we've got some big events coming up this weekend. If you're looking for something to do over on Twitch, this current weekend, the day this episode goes live, and the next day, December 2nd and December 3rd of this year, it is the 4th annual Stream Queens Con. I've been an active participant for the last 2 years. This year, I'm scaled back. Where you can catch me though this year is during the Indie Game Showcase, our 3rd annual, and not too long after that showcase, we're going to be having a Stream Queens digital drag show with I think 25 or 26 drag content creators on Twitch, all delivering numbers. I am delivering a number that I won my bar title with because I took talent and it pushed me enough ahead to take the crown. So I haven't shown this number off anywhere since it played in my home bar back in February. So if you want to see the official debut of that number, be sure to go over there on Sunday night. It's gonna be pretty late. Check the full schedule on the Stream Queens Twitter. I will have a link to that below. It's 15 hours of drag content, both Saturday and Sunday. What more could you ask for, honestly? And while you're at it, be sure to go follow me on Twitch and join us live each and every week, usually Monday through Wednesday and Saturdays too. But that concludes another week, another episode of Dragula. After this episode, the judges did say they are halfway through the competition, so I do believe we've only got 5 episodes left to review for this season, which is exciting because we're on, you know, the back end of this hill. Thank you so much for watching and supporting. I appreciate it each and every week. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let those videos run, those public watch hours, rack them up for me. I'm trying to figure out a cute little concluding ending thing to these, but I think the one I would like to land on is, as always, stay kind, stay queer, and until next time, toodaloo!